Happening now, a Jamestown City Councilman is calling for the municipality to negotiate with the city's police union about a proposed residency requirement. Plus, why cops say they busted a duo with a large sum of counterfeit cash.
And the sunshine is going to be peeking out once again today, but it's going to be milky, and I'll tell you why, plus the forecast coming up as the news at noon starts right now.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
And thanks for joining us for WNY News Now on this Tuesday. I'm Justin Gould. Jamestown City Council continued its talks about a residency requirement for new police hires during a work session meeting last night, with one of the councilmen calling for the municipality to negotiate with the city's police union. Councilman at large and retired police officer Jeff Russell reaffirmed that he believes the city should institute a residency requirement for officers that are hired on or after the 1st of January. Russell, however, says that negotiations would be a way to prevent long-term issues from arising.
If it is imposed on the police department that there's further going to be litigation possibly by the union, which is going to cost the city money. So I'm a proponent that this be negotiated or attempt to be negotiated before it's imposed upon the police department.
Now, Councilwoman at large Kimberly Eklund reminds the public that the requirement doesn't affect current officers. In addition, the council clarified that the law doesn't mean a person has to live in the city for the approved number of years before becoming an officer. Jamestown Mayor Eddie Sundquist says the requirement will be discussed in future meetings. Well, 2 Buffalo residents are facing charges after Jamestown police allegedly found a large amount of counterfeit cash during a traffic stop yesterday. Officers say 23-year-old Lewis Thomas and 22-year-old Jay Hooks were pulled over in the area of East 2nd and Windsor Street for a traffic violation just before 7 p.m. Police say during their investigation, officers allegedly found counterfeit currency, along with a quantity of narcotics, drug paraphernalia, and drug packaging materials. Both Thomas and Hooks were arrested and taken to Jamestown City Jail, pending arraignment in that case. Well, we all remember New York's stay-at-home order that shut down much of the area for months. Well, a new study found that the number of COVID-19 infections remained low because of it. Mandy Gaither explains the argument behind the staying home during a pandemic.
If it is imposed on the police department.
When states started issuing strict stay-at-home orders this spring, not only did people tend to follow them, but it helped slow the spread of COVID-19. That's according to a new study published in the journal JAMA Network Open. Using data from more than 45 million cell phones between March 11th and April 10th, researchers were able to see how far and how often people traveled each day. The findings highlighted the results in the 5 states where infections were highest at the time.
Mobility went down significantly. There was a significant decrease. People stayed at home more. Their distance that they traveled was far less, and you saw a significant decrease in COVID transmission as well. So people did abide by the stay-at-home orders.
Dr. Sanjay Gupta, who is not part of the study, says the research is both promising and also a reminder of what happens if certain steps aren't taken soon enough or are let up too early.
What they also have seen in other studies was that had that stay-at-home order gone into effect 2 weeks earlier, right now there would likely be about 80% decreased overall viral spread in this country. Significant. What we do now will have a much more significant impact, a couple months from now.
For today's Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Mandy, thank you. Yesterday, a federal judge ruled that Pennsylvania's restrictions requiring people to stay at home, placing size limits on gatherings, and ordering non-life-sustaining businesses to shut down is unconstitutional. Assemblyman Andy Goodell recently testified before the New York State Farm Laborers Board in support of the efforts by the New York State Farm Bureau, local farmers, and farm workers to delay changing agricultural overtime standards. Now, during the testimony, Goodell called on the board to recognize how crucial the time of farmers is to their livelihood.
And when your entire livelihood relies on one harvest, it is extraordinarily important that you can bring in the harvest on time. I am strongly recommend that you keep the 60-hour threshold as it is in place, because otherwise what you will find is that those operations that need highly intensive labor for a short time period will work with the neighboring farms, and they'll bring in a van with the workers to work 8 hours or whatever hours they can work. They'll then move to the next farm. The net effect is the workers will waste time moving between farms and will lose income. And for many of these workers, these harvest periods are critical for their annual income as well as the farmer's annual income.
Now, the Assemblyman says that the overtime would be hard to limit due to the work that needs to adapt to the change in weather throughout the year. Some farm workers spoke of not returning to New York at all if the overtime standard is changed, thus creating a potential labor shortage. Goodell, along with State Senator George Borrello, are in support of legislation that would delay any change in agricultural overtime standards for the next few years as the data is collected and studied. Well, we thank you for joining us here for WNY News Now. Hopefully everybody is having a good day out there. Let's check in with the comments and say hello to Jamie. Good to see you. Good to see Manny, Brittany, Haley as well. Hopefully you're having a good day. Always great to have Joseph on the broadcast, Cindy, Butch, and Wallace. We appreciate all of you tuning in every day and making us part of your routine to get the latest local news. Let's switch gears now and get the latest on that local weather forecast. Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter is standing here with that. Hey, Dakota.
Hey, Justin, and happy Tuesday, everybody. Made it through Monday, and here's a live look coming from Salamanca from atop of the Seneca Allegheny Casino. Notice how the sky has a milky white appearance to it. Well, that's actually because of wildfire smoke that's coming in, that's coming out from that's coming from the fires in California. It's actually being lifted with the jet stream. So you're going to be seeing a milky white appearance to the sky today. Nothing on First Defense Doppler radar. Dry once again today. And we actually had fog this morning. It's all burned off and everybody now has 10-mile visibility. And the fog was patchy, especially across portions of the southern tier this morning, but it's all gone for the afternoon. So through the afternoon, milky white sunshine. Now, we think because the wildfire smoke may act as like a blanket, we've actually lowered the forecast high temperatures today because of that. It's going to be cool, but a nice day overall. 61 on the highest hills to 70 around the lakeshore. Again, the wildfire smoke may act as a blanket, so these numbers might be adjusted, but this is where we adjusted them to with a south wind averaging about 5 to 10. The southerly wind's not really warming us up very much. We'll have one day of warmth coming tomorrow, and then it's back into fall as we go into the rest of the week, into the weekend. We'll talk about all that in detail in just a few. Justin?
All right, Dakota. It's such an interesting fact that you have there that that smoke might actually keep us a little bit cooler. Mm-hmm. Certainly this morning it was pretty chilly out there.
Yes.
Thank you. Well, 24 new cases of COVID-19 were reported in Chautauqua County from this past weekend. County health officials say the new cases were reported from Saturday to yesterday. Of those cases, 6 are from the city of Dunkirk, 4 are in Fredonia, 6 are here in Jamestown, 1 in Bemis Point, 2 in Brockton, 1 in Lakewood, 1 in Mayville, 1 in Portland, and 2 in Stockton. There are now 55 active cases, with 3 active cases employees connected to the Fieldbrook Foods outbreak. There are also currently 13 active cases at SUNY Fredonia. Well, to date, 517 people have recovered from the virus, with 582 total confirmed cases. Well, 6 states have been removed from the tri-state coronavirus travel advisory, which requires incoming travelers from areas of high infection rates to self-quarantine for 2 weeks upon arrival to New York. Connecticut Governor Ned Lamont announced the news today that New York, Connecticut, and New Jersey, all part of their tri-state alliance back in June. So the states coming off are California, Hawaii, Maryland, Minnesota, Nevada, and nearby Ohio. Puerto Rico was put back on the list after being taken off last week. There are currently 30 U.S. states and territories impacted by the advisory. The quarantine applies to any person that arrives from a state with a positive rate higher than 10 per 100,000 residents over a 7-day rolling average. Now, New York State Governor Andrew Cuomo previously said those caught violating the advisory risk could face some civil penalties, including a fine ranging from $2,000 to $10,000. There are exceptions to the quarantine advisory, which include essential workers and stays of less than 24 hours in areas that does not enforce the advisory. Well, coming up next, a Dunkirk man is facing several charges in connection with a gruesome attack. We'll have the details. And later, how you, yes you, can get a free water heater here in Jamestown. Stay with us as WNY News Now continues.
With coverage that matters. This is WNY News Now.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer, plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
I grew up in a single-parent home. We were raised by my mom in a 1-bedroom apartment in Queens, and I slept in what was supposed to be a dining room just off the kitchen. We were poor and fell behind in our bills. More than once our electricity was shut off and there were eviction notices taped to our door. I remember walking into our kitchen and finding my mother standing by the stove, crying to herself because she didn't know what to do and felt helpless. I was about 9 or 10 when our apartment was robbed. I remember arriving home with my mother and brother and finding the door open, feeling confused because the first thing I saw was that our television, a set which forever sat on a stand in the living room, was missing. I know firsthand what it's like to be a victim, to be assaulted, robbed, to have things taken from you which you're never going to get back, and to be scarred by experiences which 30 and 40 years later still haunt me. We're lucky enough to live in Chautauqua County where by and large we feel safe, but unfortunately bad things do happen here. I want to be the district attorney who personally prosecutes the most serious crimes and who's there for victims every step of the way. These are the people I want to represent, to fight for their justice, to fight for our justice in the courtroom, to help people who have suffered at the hands of others. This is why I want to be your district attorney.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
And welcome back. A 33-year-old Dunkirk man was arrested after police say he allegedly hit a man in the head with an axe over the weekend. Dunkirk police say Brian Nowak was arrested Saturday afternoon following the alleged assault. Nowak is charged with second-degree felony assault and was remanded to the Chautauqua County Jail on $20,000 bail. Officers report the victim was treated at Brooks Memorial Hospital for his injuries. Dunkirk police were assisted by the Village of Fredonia Police and U.S. Border Patrol. Well, the Jamestown Board of Public Utilities is looking for 5 residential customers to partake in a new water heating study where they could receive a free water heater. BPU officials say the new water heaters are demand response enabled, meaning that the heater elements can be turned down or off during periods of high electric demand. Participants must have wireless internet in order to be eligible for this study so that crews can control the heaters remotely. The water heaters are used in other parts of the country as a way for customers to save on energy bills while allowing the utilities to reduce electric loads during periods of high demand. To qualify for the program, participants must be BPU customers who currently operate their water heaters with electricity. In addition, participants must have a Wi-Fi hotspot in their home and agree to maintain that service. Those interested in learning more or signing up for the program are asked to contact the BPU's Energy Efficiency Coordinator, Dan Reynolds, at dreynolds@jamestownbpu.com. President Trump was in California yesterday, getting an update on the wildfires there. Those historic blazes have scorched millions of acres and killed at least 35 people. Numerous scientists say this fire season is worse because of human-caused climate change. As Caitlin Collins reports, the president says he doesn't believe that. He says he thinks the earth will just start cooling off.
With fires ravaging the West Coast, President Trump made a brief stop in California to assess the damage after being criticized for largely staying silent on the devastation he's blamed on forest management.
There has to be good, strong forest management, which I've been talking about for 3 years.
As he met with California Governor Gavin Newsom in a stop added 2 days ago, the trip only emphasized Trump's reluctance to accept climate change.
Trees fall down after a short period of time, about 18 months. They become very dry. They become really like a matchstick. Also leaves. When you have years of leaves, dried leaves on the ground, it just sets it up.
Scientists have concluded it's greenhouse gas emissions from burning fossil fuels that are making the fires longer lasting and more damaging.
Is there a climate change issue in California?
You'll have to ask the governor that question. I don't want to step on his toes.
But please respect, and I know you do, the difference of opinion out here as it relates to this fundamental issue on the issue of climate change.
Former Vice President Joe Biden said Trump doesn't listen to the experts.
If you give a climate arsonist 4 more years in the White House, why would anyone be surprised if we have more America ablaze?
The president's visit coming after he held a rally with thousands of people indoors yesterday, blatantly defying the governor of Nevada's order limiting indoor gatherings to 50 people. Many in the audience weren't wearing masks, and Trump openly mocked the governor's restriction.
And if the governor comes after you, which he shouldn't be doing, I'll be with you all the way.
Trump told the Las Vegas Review-Journal that the limitations didn't apply to him and he wasn't worried about getting COVID-19 from being in the room.
No, I'm not concerned. I'm more concerned about how close you are, to be honest.
The revelation that Trump knew the dangers of coronavirus came from Bob Woodward's book. In new audio obtained by CNN today, Trump repeatedly asked Woodward how the pandemic would affect his re-election chances.
So you think the virus totally supersedes the economy?
Oh, sure. But they're related, as you know.
A little bit, yeah.
Trump also told Woodward nothing more could have been done on COVID, despite what Dr. Anthony Fauci told Jake Tapper in April.
I mean, obviously, you could logically say that if you had a process that was ongoing and you started mitigation earlier, you could have saved lives.
Caitlin reporting there, thank you. The World Health Organization reported Sunday a new set of the highest single-day increase in global coronavirus infections. Well, there's no limit to what knowledge you can gain because today is National Online Learning Day. This year, most kids have become pretty familiar with it because of many schools switching to online learning only. It gives students a chance to calibrate and explore with peers and teachers instead of doing their homework alone. And you can avoid spreading COVID-19 as well. But online education is for everyone, according to experts. There are so many free and expensive courses out there. You can learn just about anything with a click of the mouse. And if you really want to get into it, you can even earn a full college degree online nowadays. Most traditional colleges and universities are also offering programs that are mostly or entirely taught online. Well, we thank you for joining us here for WNY News Now on this Tuesday. Let us know what you're thinking about and doing as you move throughout your Tuesday. Let's now get a check of our full First Defense weather forecast with Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter. And as we mentioned here at the top of the show, Dakota, certainly this morning was a pretty chilly one out there. And I was actually looking for some frost. I know yesterday you mentioned that there was a frost advisory for some of the area, not necessarily Chautauqua County, but I didn't see any out there, so it must have been warm enough where I was.
Yes, well actually the low temperatures this morning were actually pretty interesting. Let's take a look at it here. The low temperatures this morning, we officially dipped to 37 here in town, 37 in Randolph, 36 Olean. How about right at the freezing mark in Clymer at 32, and the Lake Erie shoreline, as often is the case, stayed warmer. They stayed in the lower 40s, so it was a cool start to the day. Chilly. I mean, I closed the windows and I put 2 blankets on my bed last night. I mean, it was a chilly night. 55 right now here in town. That is, I mean, you know, it's very relative because at this time of the year, 55 is absolutely freezing, but if we get into January and it's 55 degrees, we're outside in you know, Bermuda shorts and flip-flops. At least I am. That's not a picture you want to see. Variable wind at 6 and a dew point at 44 degrees. And yeah, we have a wind chill of 54 degrees. Hey, golfing season is getting close to being done. So if you want to get out for one last round, today's not going to be bad. Filtered sunshine with the wildfire smoke. And because of that, we're holding down the highs to likely the lower 60s today. Model guidance spikes us into the upper 60s. I think the wildfire smoke has something to say about that. So talking about it, where is all this smoke going? Well, obviously all of this smoke is coming from the wildfires that are out, that are essentially out west in California. And this is a special satellite imagery that we put on. And what we're looking for is these reds and oranges. Where you see the reds and oranges, that is essentially part of the smoke that we're looking at. And you can see it blankets much of the continental 48. And you can see this is actually clouds right here. But if you look at the red bands, that's actually the wildfire smoke that's coming in with the jet stream pulling to the north. So that is the reason why we have the smoke coming in. It is because the jet stream has pulled north. Now let's talk about the tropics here. Again, very active in the tropics here. We have 4 systems that are currently active. It's the quad tropical systems. We have Paulette, Sally, Teddy, and Vicky. Renee dissipated yesterday, but we're keeping our eyes on Sally, and the reason is because this thing is now a hurricane, a Category 1 hurricane, 85-mile-per-hour winds. Notice the forward motion, northwest at 2 miles per hour. This thing is just creeping along, and the problem with that is when you get very slow tropical systems like this, you're going to get very heavy rain. And notice the center of circulation just south of Mobile Bay in Alabama, and we'll put the radar on. You can see all this heavy rain band spiraling back around the center of circulation, and the main threat with this along the U.S. Gulf Coast is going to be flooding. This is the forecast rainfall over the next few days, 10 to 15 inches in this yellow spot right here, locally 20 inches along the Alabama and Florida Gulf Coast. So if you have any friends or family down there, make sure that they follow all preparations. I know some spots are already doing, I know some spots are doing mandatory evacs. So if you have friends or family down there, make sure you let them know on that, and hopefully they stay safe through this over the next couple of days. High temperatures today, yeah, likely lower 60s. I lowered it because of the sunshine today and the wildfire smoke. I think that's going to hold us down, and that southerly wind really is not going to warm us up. How about the future? The next 7 days of your life are coming up on the screen. We warm up to 77 tomorrow. That's really going to be the warmest day of the week. A morning shower Thursday, meh, who cares? And then we go right back into fall time air both Friday and Saturday. We're going to be struggling to hit 60 degrees here, but we do warm up slightly, lower 60s by the end of the weekend going into next week. But a relatively dry and cool pattern, Justin.
Yeah, certainly looking like it, Dakota. Thank you. Well, as this COVID-19 pandemic continues to move on, many people are looking for ways to manage stress that has come with it. Well, now drink maker Pepsi Cola is adding some options to try to help people relieve that stress. Yesterday, the company unveiled Driftwell, a new drink designed to ease stress and help us relax. The company says the drink is loaded with an amino acid that helps with calmness and improves focus and helps with sleep. You'll be able to get Driftwell online later this year and in stores early next year. Meanwhile, with so many people looking forward to the end of this year, Advent calendars could be more popular than ever this holiday season. And this year, Aldi seems to have something in mind for everyone. The discount grocery chain announced it will start selling a collection of more than 20 different Advent calendars this November. The choices include a wine, beer, or hard seltzer countdown calendar. Now, in past years, those have sold out quickly. But if alcohol isn't your thing, you can always get a selection of cheese or chocolate with food-themed Advent calendars. And there are even options for children and pets in our lives too. Well, in some tech news from the file of you probably saw this coming, YouTube is launching what appears to be a TikTok competitor. The Google-owned company's product is called Shorts. It operates much like TikTok, giving users the ability to add short video clips from mobile devices. YouTube is launching it in India, where TikTok is banned right now. It follows similar apps like Reels from Instagram, which also hopes to tap into some of that TikTok market. The news comes after it was announced Oracle partnered with TikTok in a deal meant to keep the Trump administration from shutting it down because it's a Chinese-owned company. Certainly, I haven't really gotten into TikTok, but I know a lot of people are, and it's pretty much all over their social feeds, at least some of the very trendy videos out there. Thanks for joining us here for WNY News Now. Hopefully everybody's having a good day and enjoying it out there. And really, this afternoon might be a good time to get out and hit the golf course. Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter joins us back now.
It's called Hitting the Links, Justin.
Hitting the links. And you know, Dakota, I'm sure if you could escape, you probably would go hit the links this afternoon.
Yes, I would. And you know, speaking about TikTok, I know we have just a couple of minutes, but speaking of TikTok, I don't understand it. Is there anybody else who doesn't understand what to do with it? Like you know, I had it on my phone, and then within 2 weeks, I got rid of it because I don't know what to do on it. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah, and see, I guess Facebook is super popular here in this area, and I always kind of joke with people. It's like sometimes Western New York seems like they're a little behind in technology, where you know Twitter, Instagram is really rising in popularity here locally. You know, a lot of young people are on that, on Snapchat, and you're a big Snapchatter. But I've always kind of, you know, been on the fence because I don't really have that much time to scroll through social media feeds. So I don't think I get that much out of it. Now, I post on social media. I do it for my job. So when I get home, it's like I don't always have like the urge to just share my life. But a lot of people do, and it's nice to catch up with friends with normally you wouldn't in your daily routine.
I mean, you know, I'm kind of the same way because it's like, you know, I share a lot of stuff on social media.
Yeah.
And sure, it's like, you know, I like the face bag mainly because we can get in depth with things.
Right. We couldn't talk to our viewers the way we do without it.
But it's like, you know, at the same time, the tweeter is great because it's just short little vignette messages. So that's great. And you know, I love the snap face mainly just because, you know, it's kind of fun, you know, sending snaps to each other, seeing what people are doing throughout the day and whatnot. But TikTok, I guess it's sort of like Vine reincarnated.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand Vine either. So I guess if you didn't understand Vine, you're not going to get TikTok. So
yeah, I guess not. Maybe we're too old for that.
Yeah.
But it's like
we're too old fuddly duds. We don't understand modern things. Hey, speaking of modern things, let's take a look at the golfer's forecast one more time because this is also the day planner for today. We're going lower 60s through the day today, and a lot of that is due to the wildfire smoke coming in from the fires out west that may limit our temperatures. So basically lower to mid 60s across much of the area today, but milky white sunshine, Jay.
Yeah, certainly. A lot of people too sometimes like to get out on the green. They don't like it to be that hot, so today might be the day for you. Dakota, thank you. Well, that's it for us. We're back tomorrow live here at noon. Hope to see you then. In the meantime, we'll leave you with this live look over downtown Jamestown. Have a great day.